A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to Nerf Secret Revealed Distance Gauge. And so for today's episode, let's go ahead and move on from some of the other things that we've already done here, from Alpha Strike, Elite, and, well, Mega. And instead, let's focus on a Zombie Strike Blaster here. So, here it is, pretty much. Well, if you look at this, this is the Zombie Strike Wrath Bolts that I pretty much have chock full of the different Z bolts. Many people will call them arrows, but hey, I call them Z bolts because, well, we technically have a lot of ways of talking about arrows. And so, I guess for a blaster like this, let's just see if we can actually get something decent out of this. Can the Wrath Bolts range pretty much do any better than many other things that I've talked about it so far? Well, let's go find out and hit the downrange. Alright, now as you can see, the downrange is all the way out there over that 100-foot mark. And this is basically the Wrath Bolt with one bolt inserted. But I do have 5 others, so in total I'll have 6 bolts to use for the downrange itself, just to ensure that I can get some good ranges on this. Hopefully we'll see some good results. We got one more here. Wow. I'd say that went pretty well. So, starting at 0, I'd say most of these bolts actually went a pretty reasonable distance, but yeah, it does look like many which are up here. We got a cluster of 3. And with the lowest point right here, the lowest tip ended at around 42 feet. So, not really quite as good as many out there. But here we go, around the middle mark. There's another one over here. And they're at around 53 feet, 54 feet even. And with the highest amount that we got, well, if you line it up here, 60 feet. So, it does appear that the Z bolts actually do pretty good. Not necessarily much better than most other ammo out there, including Mega Darts and Elite Darts. But hey, this is just a mere example of what you could probably get out of a blaster that could fire bolts of this type. So, time to close out on this episode. And so, this is pretty much what you get here. You got a Wrath Bolt that could fire around 60 feet, or maybe depending on how you angle it. If you were to angle it higher, then maybe it could have gotten a bit higher, but you know what? I'd say 60 feet is still a pretty reasonable distance, especially when starting at a 0-foot stance. Going all the way to 60 feet, I'd say that's a pretty reasonable way of getting some good ranges put together. But I certainly wouldn't recommend going any higher than 60 feet if you're basically wanting to fire at a target that's even more further than 60 feet, then, well, you might have to find something else to use, because the bolts probably aren't really going to cut it in terms of ammo. But hey, you know what? Wrath Bolt is still a pretty good blaster by any means. A Zombie Strike Blaster that does deliver on most ends, at least. So, if you want to see more, go down to my channel, then make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.